Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a short invocation, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Father God, right now, we just want to pause and thank you for allowing us to come here to the village of Woodlawn to do the business, what is best for our residents here in the village of Woodlawn. Lord, we ask that you just touch each household that is represented here in this village. Lord, we ask that you touch the bereaved family that is here in the village of Woodlawn. We ask them that they transition in the right way. And Lord, we know that you are leading them in that charge. These blessings that we ask in thy son Jesus' name and for his sake. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Poole,
Present.
Esther Boyd, Rosemary Brown,
Present.
Cindy Chandler,
Present.
Pamela Fitzgerald,
Present.
Robert Lawson,
Present.
Michelle Starr.
Present.
All right. Folks, I believe that we had a slight issue with the minutes from January the 28th. So I'm going to ask that we approve the minutes from our January 28th, 2025 meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from January 28th, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
Motion been moved and properly second. All ayes.
Aye.
Aye.
Very well. I need a motion to approve the minutes from our February 25th meeting, 2025.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the regular council meeting held on February 25th, 2025.
I'll second it.
Motion been moved and properly second. All ayes.
Aye.
Well. Committee reports. Committee of the Whole from March the 11th, 2025. Ms. Chandler, is that you correct?
It is.
All right.
It is, and if you just give me a moment until I can get to that. Okay. Sure. Committee of the Whole met on March 11th, 2025, and just for those that don't know about Committee of the Whole, that's the time where every department comes out and gives an update to council and the village manager on what they've been doing for the previous month. So we heard from each department respectfully, and Public Works went through and talked about the work that they've been doing to keep Woodlawn beautiful. And as you can see, namely across the street, Harmony Park, they've been doing a lot of work and overseeing a lot of work that's taking place over there, and overseeing some street projects that are getting ready to take place and some that we're finishing up on. A lot of snow removal, as we've had an unprecedented winter, as we can say the least about. So kudos out to Public Works. Fire Department is still looking at grants and looking to keep their operations up to speed, as we don't expect anything else. And we also received a rating of 2 for the ISO report. Woodlawn Fire Department received an ISO rating of 2. And we heard from Chief Williams in the Fire Department, and, or I'm sorry, excuse me, Chief Williams, and I'm looking right at you, in the Police Department, and we don't expect anything less than them. And we've been beefing up the roads, as Mayor always says, please take care of our babies around the schools, and police officers are visible out on the streets and definitely in front of the schools. So kudos goes out to the Police Department. And kudos to the Recreation Department as well. There's been a lot of events happening down there, so many that I can't make it to. So kudos to Ms. Paula Sherman for everything that you do, and the volunteers and your staff for getting it done. We appreciate you. Thank you. And that really concludes our Committee of the Whole report.
All right. Any questions for Ms. Chandler and Committee of the Whole? Having none, Finance Committee, Ms. Chandler again.
Okay. Finance Committee met on March the 17th, 2025. Members present were myself and Michelle Starr, as well as Pamela Fitzgerald. We had a report presented to us by Charles Willis, our tax administrator. He works with Rita to make sure that we're giving our due taxes to the village. Thank you for your service, Mr. Willis. And at the end of his report, the tax receipt distributions that were collected as of date are $638,147. So thank you for staying on top of that for us. We talked about the road tax levy and different roads that have been improved from the road levy funds, which include, not limited to, Shady, Sheffield, Riddle, Chester Road, north side of Chester, Jones Alley, Grove Avenue, Timberland and Timberview, and Ronnie and Woodstock. And I would say that's a lot that we've done with the road tax levy. So we are good stewards of the tax funds here in Woodlawn. So again, thank you for that. Mr. Crisp, our finance director, gave a report, and we talked about, I'm not going to dive too much into it because he'll come up and give his report, but we just talked about the expenditures, payment receipt listings, general fund review, receipt and disbursement reports, fund balance reports, overtime reports, and so forth. And let me see what was stated, if there was anything stated from council. Just about the process of Rita reporting to the Village of Woodlawn. So we are in communication with Rita. We work closely with Rita to make sure that those due taxes are coming to the village as stated previously. So, are there any questions?
I just want to make just one correction. The $638,147 that you mentioned was for the month of February.
Okay.
Yes.
Just people won't get
Correct.
mixed up,
Okay.
that's all
Correct.
that we had collected. That was just
Okay.
That is correct.
Well, I misspoke.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
no,
No,
good stuff.
you did great. I just wanted to.
Any other
put
questions
it out there.
for Ms. Chandler and Finance Committee? Having none, Board of Zoning Appeals met on March the 19th. There was one item that came before us from Equipment Share Advanced Solution, which was case number ZVWL 202501. This was simply a request of variance approval to allow the expansion of a fence, outside storage, and having less side and rear yard setback that is required on the site located in the IP Industrial Park District. That body granted the variance to that business on Chester Road in Hill Smith. That was the only agenda item that came before that board on March the 19th. Are there any questions in terms of that meeting, the Board of Zoning Appeals?
Now, I'll just add that the company, it's a new company, and their business is equipment rental specializing in power generators, climate control, equipment, pumps, and compressors, etc.
Thank you. All right. Have any other questions for Board of Zoning Appeals? Having municipal managers report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just go ahead and try to briefly advise council on some of the items in the Village of Woodlawn. Juneteenth 2025, our next meeting will be April the 10th. We discussed the particulars of the last meeting at Committee of the Whole, so I won't review those at the moment. Lee Crest Road, again, quick update. Verdantis, formerly CT Consultants, has reviewed the planning documents related to the new subdivision that is going to be constructed in Springfield Township. The current concerns are related to stormwater discharge and that the plans don't really show where the water and gas connections are coming from. Verdantis will continue to work with the development team to get clarification and find deficiencies, and there is a possibility that certain parts of this project will need to perhaps be approved by the Planning Commission, or that certain permits will need to be pulled through the village, as it will impact areas within our borders. Hamilton County Revitalization Grant 2024, that is the parking lot project on Taconic. That will be paid for through a grant from Hamilton County in the amount of $279,000. Verdantis is working on getting their surveyors mobilized so accurate plans can be finalized. The project will be bid out and completed this year. There has been some discussion about approaching the businesses on Taconic to determine if they would be interested in adding an additional acre of parking to the project by subsidizing the additional costs. So we'll work with them through our partners at Alloy and see what they would like to do. The Hamilton County Facade Improvement Grant, the grant applications were posted on the village website, and grant packets were taken to all businesses that sent letters of interest last year. We've already received, I have 2 applications here. I believe we've got 4 applications back now. Applications are due at the end of the month, and we are working with the goal of making funding decisions the first 2 weeks of April. And again, that is a business facade improvement grant from Hamilton County in the amount of $50,000. And then the Village of Woodlawn added an additional $15,000 to that grant funding. So there's $65,000 out there total. The Springfield Pike and Gruninger improvements, again, we're adding sidewalks as well as certain road improvements to Springfield Pike and Gruninger. That contract was given to Athletic Construction, and Verdantis is scheduling a pre-construction meeting in early April. So looking forward to getting that one started. Wayne Avenue improvements. We're working on improvements for Wayne Avenue. Part of the project will note what has to happen to extend the bike trail, but the right-of-way acquisitions and changes in scope won't allow for a trail extension as part of the scope of this project right now. We will bid out the project in the spring of this year. Verdantis did state that utility coordination is mostly complete on this project. Once that has been fully completed, there will be a final review, and then the project will be ready for bid. And again, that will do road improvements to Wayne Avenue, starting at Glendale Milford, running south past, or to or slightly past the Wayne Loss apartment complex. Glendale Milford sidewalk improvements. Again, we're trying to add some sidewalks to Glendale Milford Road. Currently, we're also coordinating utilities for that project. But one of the biggest issues is a right-of-way coordination with the Shell gas station on the corner of Glendale Milford and Wayne Avenue. We're working on scheduling a meeting with the gas station owner to discuss right-of-way and hope to bid the project out in late spring of this year. Marion Road, as we discussed at Committee of the Whole, but we'll say it at Council for the public as well, we were informed that the Village's Ohio Public Works Commission application for Marion Road was successful. The OPWC funds will pay for street improvements and drainage improvements to Marion Road. Sidewalk and bike trail improvements will also be considered. These improvements will be dependent upon the cost of the drainage work as well as the success of an outstanding municipal road fund application. I will say that we are pushing sidewalk improvements really hard, so if we can find a way to do those regardless of the municipal road fund application, we'll do that. But we're just trying to work within confines of some budgets. The value of the OPWC grant is $908,140 in interest-free loans and $905,642 in grant funding. The grant contract will be presented to the village in July, so that's really good news and another project that will come in 2026 to the village. Neighborhood Allies continues to have a presence at our recreation center. Neighborhood Allies will return to Woodlawn on April 11th. As Ms. Chandler noted, the fire department was the recipient of a couple of grants this year already. They received $25,000 for the purchase of new radios, as well as $15,000 for the purchase of new turnout gear. They did, again, receive an ISO rating, or an Insurance Services Office rating, of 2. The ISO score is a measurement of how well a community is protected from fire, with ratings between 1 and 10, with 1 being the highest possible rating. The ISO rating not only helps communities improve their fire protection and preparedness, but also helps insurance companies make decisions about rates. Out of the 27,228 fire departments nationwide, only 498 received a rating of 1, and only 1,545 received a rating of 2, which puts our Village of Woodlawn Fire Department in the top 7% of all fire departments nationwide. And just to sort of kind of provide some perspective, the City of Cincinnati's fire department is rated at a 2, so we're hanging with the City of Cincinnati. This rating qualifies our businesses for a reduction in their insurance premium, generally somewhere between 4 and 7% for our industrial businesses. That can be a nice savings. And then the average ISO rating in the state of Ohio is just under a 5.5, so we're doing quite a bit better than most of the departments in the state as well. Public Works, as Ms. Chandler noted as well, the Public Works Director has been adding road maintenance to the projects in their list of duties this year. While the team has been diligently working to fix potholes, most of that road work can't be performed under the current temperatures. The team did determine that they could repair guardrails and consequently has repaired or replaced guardrails on Chester Road at Marion Road close to Springfield Pike at the Century Inn as well as at Grove, and Wayne Avenue, and they're currently working on a guardrail on Chatsworth. Public Works performing those replacements saves the village thousands of dollars, and again, to provide perspective, the last time I had a contractor replace guardrails, the low end was $3,000, the high end was $22,000. Public Works is spending hundreds to maybe $1,000 on materials to replace these things, so that's really, it's saving us a ton of money in our road funds.
Good job.
Buildings and other issues, we met with Verdantis along with the police, fire, and public works departments to review building options for new capital buildings, as well as gain feedback from each department related to future building plans. Verdantis is working on creating a presentation for council related to the information from the building needs assessment and staff input. We're tentatively planning to perhaps perform that presentation at the next Committee of the Whole meeting. The presentation will allow for discussion of planning estimates and phasing of future building projects. So we can discuss that as part of an agenda here a little later on. The mayor, the vice mayor, Joey Hood from Verdantis, it's still hard for me to say that, and myself will be meeting with Elevar Design Group on Thursday this week to review a capital design proposal related to improvements to Springfield Pike that would carry over to Woodlawn Boulevard. This proposal would include the placement of a new Capitol building to create a village square. Information from the meeting may be necessary to have a better conversation at Committee of the Whole with Verdantis about the other Capitol buildings. And just anybody knows, the reason that that's a smaller meeting is that that is considered work product at Elevar. We haven't paid them anything. It's a proposal, so we don't want to make that public information. That wouldn't be right for those guys. So that'll give us time to look at it in that kind of small unit, determine what kind of challenges that plan may have, what kind of benefits it may have, and if it's worthwhile bringing back to council, then we'll go ahead and do that. Village events. On March 22nd, the village hosted the second annual King Me Award celebration, which recognized individuals from Woodlawn, Wyoming, Lincoln Heights, and Laughlin for humanitarian work that has improved the lives of others. This year's recipients were Valley Interfaith from Laughlin, Dr. Patricia Lee, founder of the Althea Augustine Technology Center from Lincoln Heights. Cheryl, I'm going to butcher her last name, so I apologize. Can you say that for me, please?
It's Rajahar.
Thank you very much. Is the founder of Heartfelt Tidbits from the city of Wyoming, and then Cheryl Mitchell from our very own village of Woodlawn. Those attending the event were treated to a performance from the Black Theater Liturgical Dancers, as well as a tribute to the poet and writer Nikki Giovanni, who resided in Lincoln Heights in Wyoming during her childhood years. So congratulations to those award recipients, and once again, Paula did a great job, and the planning and execution of that event was beautiful.
Yeah.
April 21st, the City of Wyoming will have representatives from the Hamilton County Juvenile Court present to discuss the reopening of Hillcrest Academy. That meeting starts at 7 o'clock. I know we've discussed this, but just to sort of remind the folks at home that may be watching, the Hamilton County Juvenile Court contacted us in late 2023 to advise the reopening of Hillcrest Academy, which was a residential treatment facility. Between that time and now, Governor DeWine passed a 26-point plan for an overhaul of the juvenile justice plan. The plan requires Hamilton County to have a CCF, which is a community corrections facility. The county is planning on designating Hillcrest Academy as a CCF and pursuing grant funding through the state to do so. Per the court, the designation does not change the type of kids based on sentencing that will be placed at Hillcrest from the court or judge's perspective. The county is working towards fully reopening Hillcrest in November of this year. The county plans to form a community advisory committee related to the academy after staff is hired and it knows for certain whether it's opening a CCF or a residential treatment facility based on the success of the grant application. It was stated that regardless of the success of the application, a CCF will come to Hamilton County, and the county will likely push to designate Hillcrest as the CCF. So if anybody would like to go to that meeting to watch or ask questions of the county, again, that's 7 o'clock at the City of Wyoming. Hamilton County Auditor Jessica Miranda will be visiting the village on April 23rd to discuss property taxes and other items with residents and neighbors. The team is still working on the time and some logistics of that meeting, but we will advertise the meeting for anybody that wishes to attend. It's always an honor to host the auditor. The Village of Woodlawn Recreations Department will host an open house on April 26th from 9 to 2 p.m. where attendees can observe and take part in some of the programs offered by the Woodlawn Recreation Center. And the Village of Woodlawn will host its annual Easter egg hunt from 12 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. on April 12th at the Gazebo Playground for children between the ages of 2 and 12 years old. Both of those, the open house as well as the Easter egg hunt, are free events. On May 9th, the Village of Woodlawn Recreation Center will host the Mother and Son Dance Bowl from 6:30 to 9 p.m. All ages are welcome. Admission is $10 per couple or $20 per family. And then, again, I'll say it until we have it, the Village of Woodlawn will host the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra on August 1st of this year. Again, just extremely excited to have CSO back. We would like everybody to attend, including our neighbors, just to come out to Woodlawn Boulevard and enjoy that summer performance. And other than that, I have nothing else to report there.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I wanted to go back, if you could, Tim, and I just made a little notation here on the Marion Road, and we talked about, I know that we're looking at doing some sidewalks on Glendale Milford Road.
Yes.
As well as Greenwich Way through some grants. Is there any way that we could possibly, and I know that I think next year it's been put off another year for the replacement of the bridge at Riddle Road.
Right.
And I know a few years back we did a grant with the Safe Routes to Schools. Is there any way that we could possibly tie that in to look at that? Because I'm not for sure how that design is going to look once the bridge comes into play. Mm-hmm. I'm just looking at more accessibility in terms of walking sidewalks for our students and residents.
Yes. So we're currently working on another Safe Routes application now, and hopefully we'll have some success with that this year. Now with Safe Routes to School, whatever you get, it comes about 5 years after the application is approved, so there's a waiting period there.
Yeah.
But we'll continue to pursue sidewalks
Okay.
throughout the village.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think I answered myself. I don't have a comment in terms of the fire department. I shared with the chief tonight that I found out that Colerain Township was awarded the fire department of the year. Imagine that. And they're still trying to struggle with their ISO rating, but we'll leave that, right, chief? And so, with that, this whole ISO rating thing, is it an automatic thing when we talk about insurances? You know, I look oftentimes on my policy and I don't quite see that. Chief, is it somewhere, and I just want the public to know that if it's a savings out there for them on their homeowner's insurance, where should they be looking on that policy? Should it kind of pop out at them?
It wouldn't, it would be strictly with the insurance company.
Depending on who it is.
So is it somebody, or is it within the, like for myself, do I reach out to my policy, to my my agent?
Yeah, you can reach out to the insurance
Okay.
company, but they get those every time our number changes, but I think they do it every 4 to 5 years.
Okay,
So, but they have changed
4
the
years.
ratings.
4 to 5 years, but when you, your policy
Renews.
renews every year, the rating would be reflected
it would
there.
reflect?
Yeah, it
Okay,
should.
okay.
But they have made it more stringent come 2025.
Okay.
We still kept our 2 with the new criteria.
Okay, good stuff.
But I think
All
if
right.
you're getting a new policy or renewing a policy, there isn't anything wrong with reminding the company, hey, my fire department has an ISO 2, please take that into effect when
Okay.
you quote me the rates.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. Anybody have any other questions for the municipal manager? Michelle?
Tim, when you mentioned the Marion Road sidewalk, to what would possibly be considered, is that like, a financial reason why we wouldn't, or is it a structural, infrastructure, like there's not enough space? Why
No,
wouldn't
it's-
we get sidewalks on Marion?
It's mostly a financial reason. So we certainly have money to improve the roads. We're getting grants to improve the roads. Part of the goal is to leverage our village money as best as we can. So sometimes it's more advantageous to do things in phases. At no point will we not consider sidewalks on Marion. We know that that's something we want to do. It's a question of, okay, if we're going to tear the road up, and if, for instance, we weren't successful with the MRF funding to kind of help back us up a little bit, does it make sense to make the decision to go ahead and put sidewalks in at that time? Or is it better to go ahead and take care of the road and then kind of circle back around and hit sorta up for sidewalks on Marion, where we've got a little bit of a match on it? And then there again, that way we're just paying a lot less for that project altogether.
I'm thinking, I have a concern about not having sidewalks on Marion, because I see so much foot traffic at night,
Sure.
and I see foot traffic during the day, especially going across those tracks. It is so dangerous with not the elevation of the tracks versus not having sidewalks. When cars are driving both directions,
Yeah.
east and west, and you cannot see individuals walking, that risk potential is so high that someone can easily get hurt. And I've
Sure.
seen teenagers and adults walking, as well as, small
Yeah.
elementary school.
Yeah,
I think we should put safety
Yeah.
as a priority for that.
I think so, and I wouldn't disagree, but I just want to kind of scale back and talk about the Riddle Road, right? I've been around here for all my life, right? We don't have sidewalks on Riddle Road. When you look at Riddle Road, when you get to a certain point on Riddle Road, it becomes a hill that you can't see over. So again, that's a safety thing. We've talked about that. I know over the years, we've talked about looking at sidewalks for Riddle Road. That gives that kid, children, students, adults, it gives them all the access to being accessed right there. You see a lot of Metro Now coming through the village, right? So again, I think that, not to say that that's not important, because it is. I think it is, all sidewalks in the village is important, but to kind of just, again, piggyback on what our manager is saying, just leveraging our funds, and then we'll do things in phases to add, like we're doing with Springfield Pike, with Glendale Milford Road, Greenwich Way. All of those will be added sidewalks, and they have been worked in a kind of a step, right? So we talked about the whole improvement a couple of years ago with Greenwich Way, and now we're gonna get sidewalks on there. So you see it's being progressed. It's not being ignored, it's just being progressed. But I see your safety concern over there, especially at the tracks.
And I'll
Yeah.
also kind of piggyback on that. The real concern with Marion, obviously we're doing the improvements, but there are a lot of drainage issues there too. And depending on what it's going to take to repair those drainage issues
Yeah,
could impact kind of what we do with that project.
right.
At this point, we know we've been awarded, we're happy about that, we're waiting for the grant contract to come in. Once we kind of have our bearings a little bit more, we'll start to do some surveying and determine, what really needs to happen to correct that drainage.
Okay.
Obviously, there are drainage issues on the Public Works building side, where it becomes a lake sometimes when it rains. And then on the opposite side of the railroad tracks, by Bushelman, there's a lot of water issues there too. And so trying to navigate that and address those issues is really imperative to make sure that road is taken care of and continues to function properly.
Yeah,
But at no point are we disqualifying it, we're just
correct.
trying to
Right.
make sure that everybody's on board.
Yeah. Ms. Boyd, you had a question, huh?
He answered it as well as I understand your concern. In comparison to Riddle, there are back ways that they could go where they don't have that on Marion. And I do understand your concern about the Marion Road.
Maybe if we, this isn't the time to debate or discuss, rather, not debate, but maybe if we did a survey on how much foot traffic and then place priority over which street, instead of saying, well, this street has been waiting for the longest, but if this one has more children on it, then, maybe that should get the priority. So maybe we should,
We'll look at.
That's a good idea.
okay, and then I have another question. if
Sure.
you guys are done.
No. Your mic.
Your mouth, please.
Go ahead.
Thanks. I had a question, just real quick out of curiosity, what's preventing our fire department from getting ISO 1? Is it staffing?
That's part of it, but the biggest piece is a burn tower. We don't have a burn tower, but we're looking to try to do a contract with someone that does. So Colerain has their own burn tower.
Correct.
So that helps them, you have to do a live burn for every single person in your fire department. Training is a big piece, we're on it, but the burn tower is one of the big
Gotcha.
pieces.
Is that something we're trying to get, or no? It's not important to get that?
We'll work on some stuff, we're
Okay.
trying to do some stuff with some
Okay.
other communities.
Just curiosity.
Cincinnati is another component, I have a lot of constituents down there that we do a contract with them, to do some things like that, that will be part of it. But we're very close to a one,
Okay,
we're very close to it.
Good.
just curious.
All right, all right. Great, thank you. All right. Communications, petitions, and claims of the public. Clerk, has anybody signed today?
We do, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good evening,
Council
good evening,
members,
you're welcome.
Welcome.
and the community of Woodlawn. Just here today, I'm Elgin Carter, proud superintendent of Princeton City Schools. Yes, sir. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the great things we have going on, and a little bit about our upcoming levy with some facts there. Wanted to start with, as you know, Princeton, we've been doing pretty well academically the last few years. That is in key to our students working hard, our staff, and everybody doing a good job. Remember in 2019, I was not here, but this is my third time in Princeton, so I always had my eye on Princeton even when I was up the road. And I know that they had talked to you about, the communities about, we weren't doing as well academically. And the community said, we're gonna give you, you gotta do better. And we've done better, and we plan on continuing doing better. So I want to throw it out there, we are a 4-star out of 5-star district, which is awesome. I hear all the time when I'm up in Columbus and around the state, how are you performing so well? Sometimes people don't think our schools can perform well for various reasons, and we're proving them wrong. That's something I'm very proud of as a superintendent. Your own school here, Woodlawn, is a 4-star school, a great place, great principal. Our graduation rate is in the mid to high 90s. That is awesome. We want, we want to be 100%, but it's pretty good there. We've raised that. One thing I want to talk about the Report card well is our chronic absenteeism. We met that. That is hard right now. You may not know, no matter why you're absent, excused or unexcused, that goes against your chronic absenteeism. And the reason I bring that up is I think our kids want to be at school. They feel comfortable. They have people that care about them. They want to be there. I also think something that I just looked at today, got this today, and I added it, our high school discipline, we have 8 times more positive referrals than behavior referrals.
Excellent.
I will tell you this, I was assistant principal here at one time. And I know 10 years ago, it was probably flipped the other way. So that our kids and our staff are building relationships and making connections. And that helps for a strong community, so I feel really good about that as well. And a few other things, some of our great offerings, you know, our International Baccalaureate, we have our CCP, we have our AP. You know, we always have our athletic signings every year, kids going to play sports and athletics. Something we do at Princeton here that a lot of places don't do, because we talk about empowering each student for college, career, and life success. We have military signing. We have a workforce signing. How many places do that? So we can't talk that talk and not walk that walk. So we try to honor those students as well with what the great things they're doing. And then with our arts, you know, our band choir, our art, when I think art, I think drawing and painting and ceramics, but all the arts, the fine arts. We are recognized nationally as a community, best communities for music education, which is awesome. We also have 2 students right now whose artwork is being displayed in the State House for winning contests. One was like 259th, one young lady was 25th in the state. So there we have 2 people up there, 2 young man, young lady. And speaking of the arts, this Sunday, if you're not busy, 12 to 5 in Viking Village, the Festival of the Arts is taking place. Sunday, this Sunday, 12 to 5. So come out to Viking Village, you'll see all the different things and great things our kids do. There'll be performances. We're unveiling a new mural that was painted by kids and adults in our music wing at 12:30. So if you can come see that, it would be great as well. Now we'll flip to some of our athletics. As you know, or you may know, our girls basketball were state runner-ups Saturday before last. We were very close to being that state champ again, but they played very hard, and you know, they made me proud. I was in Columbus, or I was in Dayton for the boys state championship Saturday, and everybody that came up, and I told Coach Davis there, talked about how our coaches and our players had class, and they played hard, and we had a couple bad breaks in the fourth quarter that probably cost us, but they played hard. Our boys basketball team was the GMC champs. This is the first time, and I was told this, I didn't research it, so don't hold me to this. The first time that our football and our boys basketball team have been GMC champs in the same year since the 90s. So that's some great stuff there. And the first time we won back-to-back GMC football since then. So that's really good stuff. And something that's really cool to me, you know, girls wrestling has become big in the state. We have our first young lady who placed in the state this year, 8th in the state. And we had another young lady who was an alternate up there. A competitive cheer made its first ever trip in Princeton history to the Nationals down in Orlando and represented us well. And then our chess and AQT academic quiz teams are doing great things as well. We have a lot of great clubs. We have our Cyber Vikes. That was, you know, kids love their video games. We have a Cyber Vikes team, and they're going to Cincinnati here soon. We're ranked, well, I don't think we've lost yet. I think we're ranked 1, that's what I was told. So that's pretty good. Key club, and so many clubs for our kids to be a part of. And one big other thing that's important is student voice. We just did a pilot with the League of Innovative Schools about student voice, some ways we hear student voice. The Viking Voices, the people of Princeton, I have a little TV show I do quarterly. We always have students on there. We have teachers, we have administrators, other people on there as well. We do Let's Talk sessions, and we're going to hopefully do another one here this spring, if not early in the fall, where we go teach to the buildings and we have kids and we ask them questions. And we ask specific questions that, you know how kids are, they're going to tell you the truth. So good, bad, or indifferent, they tell us, and we try to help and listen to that. Our student councils, our Hope Squads are there, and also we've been doing something. We've heard some things, you know, some people say we want different foods and things for lunch. We have been doing cafe taste tests with some of our kids, so trying different things. What do you like this? And they rate it. Just trying to hear what kids want and then put into action some of the things already in place. So those are some of the great things we have going on here. There's so many more. I only have a couple minutes. I do want to talk about the levy on May 6th on the ballot. I'm going to say this because some people have asked me. You may or may not know, as the superintendent and the treasurer now, they've kind of tied our hands of what we can say. I cannot be out there knocking on doors and saying, do this and do that. I can talk about facts only, which is not fair as a superintendent because I'm supposed to be the one here doing it, and I'm one that loves the place just as much as anybody else. But so we have a committee doing that. But some facts are, it's emergency levy. It will generate specific fixed income, no more, no less, over the time. It will generate $12.8 million for 10 years. That'll be it. And then it's $231 for $100,000, about less than $20 a month.
How much is that?
$231
For?
a $100,000 house. And then it's about less than $20 a month on that same $100 house. So,
Can you repeat that?
yeah, $231 on a $100,000 home, and then less than $20 a month. That's a year. Less than $20 a month for that year. This is to help maintain the operations we're doing, and we're doing some good things. We want to continue to be able to do those things. So I appreciate you giving me some time. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to give you each one of our Viking reports. We listened to, we've had 13 listening sessions this first year. And we listened, and one thing folks said was, we do a great job on social media, email, calls. They said, you don't mail anything home. But that was trying to be cost effective, but we've heard loud and clear, people want this. So we're gonna start doing some more of this as well, because we have to listen to our kids, we have to listen to our communities. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Very
Have a great- And I'm gonna run out of here, because my daughter just texted me, can I go get her a cheeseburger?
Quick question, quick
Plain
question.
cheeseburger.
All right,
Quick-
very well.
Quick question. What's the bulk of the money on the levy will be used for?
Just keeping our operations cost. You know, if you look at, a school district's cost, 75 to 80% of any school district is staffing.
Yeah.
So a lot of it goes there, but just in our general cost as well.
Very well. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Carter.
so much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And I do want to remind everybody, statistically, it is shown that when you start thinking about levies and voting them down, think about your property values. Because if your school district goes down, so do your property values. We're in bad shape, right? Well, I won't say we're in bad shape. I'm talking about with inflation and everything going on now.
We're in bad shape.
And deflation,
We're in bad
but we want to keep not only our schools the best for our children, but we also want to keep our property values. and stuff.
Strong schools make strong communities. I
That's
would
right.
feel that as an educator. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a blessed
Thank
evening.
you.
Thanks for your time. You do a good job. Thank you.
Ms. Mary,
Sorry to happen. Yes. Yes.
Ms. Mary's
Uh-huh. Huh? I thought you said mayor. I'm sorry.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I am here for my quarterly We Thrive report.
All right.
And we are excited, because our gardening season is coming soon. And we thank the village again for providing us with so much more space to offer to the village residents to rent our garden space. And I don't know about you all, but I watch the news a lot.
Maybe too much, right?
I watch
A lot of news right now.
and with what's going on in Washington right now, we all need to learn how to garden, okay? We don't know what's gonna happen. So, it is coming up, our first meeting is gonna be on April the 9th, 6:00 PM at the Recreation Center. And we thank, the village for all the representation who comes to our We Thrive meetings, the police department, fire department, recreation, council, and residents. And that's the only way we're gonna be successful, is that everybody participates to come out to help this program go through. So I just wanted to give you a little update on what's going on. We have a learning collaborative in which each community who's a part of We Thrive come together, we talk, we have a lunch and learn. And I was a panelist last time.
All right, good.
I guess they think I know a little something. But that was great. And we're working on our assessment for the year to find out how healthy are we? Is this working? Are we getting through to people? I want to say personally, since I started working with We Thrive, I've lost 37 pounds. I got a ways
All right, we thrive.
to go, but I'm glad for those
Right.
37 pounds. So it's working.
Celebrate a
And it
win.
will work if we get together and work hard with it.
Uh-huh.
I already told you about the community garden. We are expanding, and a lot of people think We Thrive is just a community garden, but that's just one asset, one part of We Thrive. So we're gonna be focusing on mental health and healthy eating, because there's a lot going on in this world, and people need that mental health help. And I know, and a lot of times, a lot of communities, mental health is taboo. You don't want anyone to know if you're having those kinds of problems. But if you're having those kind of problems, you need help. So we are bringing in some people from mental health to help us. We have Coffee Higgins, who is working with healthy eating. She is We're also, trying to recruit more people. We had a, pop-up food distribution from the garden last year. People came, and I took their information. I guess they thought they weren't gonna hear from me, but I called them, and they're coming. I'm really excited about that.
Good.
But, so, we are getting more people. We're working on our budget. Once again, thanks to the village for, you all don't know what that means to us, to help us with that funding. Because we've been doing this a long time, a very long time. And, of course, we're working with seniors, and that's pretty much my report.
Any questions for Ms. Wagner and We Thrive?
Did you not have a certificate that was awarded? Oh, I'm sorry.
Once again, Woodlawn has been awarded for our participation in We Thrive, trying to make our community healthier. And as usual, I'm going to present this to the village.
Very well,
And
thank you.
Without your help,
You're welcome.
we wouldn't be able to do this.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for all
Thank
your
you.
hard work.
The clerk, to the clerk. All right, good stuff. Better and better.
Thank you all so
Better.
much.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Finance Director's Report. Good evening.
Good evening.
The end of February, we were 17% through the fiscal year. The village had collected 12% of budgeted revenues for all funds and collected 19% of budgeted revenues for the general fund. For expenditures, the village had expended 8% of the appropriation for all funds and 15% of the general fund budgeted expenditures. Receipts and disbursements. In February, the village collected $1,351,000 and dispersed $796,660. And the receipts and disbursements listing for February will be presented tonight, or presented to you tonight for approval for February. We included fund balance report in the Finance Committee report. Overtime, the village spent $32,628 in overtime for February. To date, the police department, fire department, and public works accounted for 51%, 29%, and 17% of the overtime through February 28th. Salary expense report, the village spent $918,491 on salaries to date through the date in 2025. That percentage increase in salary over 2024 is 12%. Recreation revenue under expenditures were $41,013 for the general fund, $926 for We Thrive, and the pool levy had no activity yet, pending receipt of the property tax. Included tonight will be our bank reconciliation reports for both January and February. We were able to close out the financial statements, submitted them to the state, and we went ahead and reconciled January and February back to back. Let's see. Tonight will be for your approval will be the permanent appropriations. We did pass the temporary appropriations for year end, and took that information, met with department heads, looked at different needs, estimated revenue, and prepared the permanent appropriations for your approval tonight.
Any questions for Lonnie in finance? Having none, Vice Mayor, we do need to approve some bank reconciliations.
Absolutely. So I'd like to make a motion for January and February 2025's bank reconciliation in the amounts of, and
It's two different ones.
I didn't add them together, so I will do it like so. Oh, okay, okay. So, I would like to make a motion to approve the bank reconciliation for January and February, the receipt listing for the month of February, and payment listing for the month of February 2025.
Motion been moving properly second. All ayes?
Aye.
Very well. Law Director's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to cover a couple items of legislation tonight. As the Finance Director indicated, we have our annual appropriation ordinance. There's also a transfer ordinance for our budgetary items. There's two items that are a little bit more substantive. One will be an ordinance to revise the fee schedule for the Recreation Department. This is simply adding a space in the Recreation Department that we did not currently have a rental fee for, so that we'll be adding that to our fee schedule. The other item is an ordinance amending our public records policy. This ordinance stems from a change in the law that goes into effect next month. And it has to do with producing body cam and cruiser cam footage. Currently under public records law, you cannot charge, when you are producing public records, you can't charge for the time that it takes to, the staff time or the money it costs to produce a record. An exception has been carved out to that when it comes to body cam footage and cruiser cam footage, just because it does take a lot more time to go through, and there are specific redactions that have to be made for that, and it is time consuming and it can be expensive. This would allow the village to charge a nominal fee related to producing those types of public records. And one of the reasons it was created is there had been some abuse of the public record, the free availability of these things, and commercial, YouTubers and people like that who like to put police confrontations on their YouTube channels were, just routinely making requests, and it just takes a lot of staff time to go and respond to all those. So this would amend the policy to allow those fees to be charged for the village's public record policy, and it mirrors the language in the Ohio Revised Code that goes into effect in early April.
Okay.
And that's all we have for legislation tonight. The only other item, Ms. Brown had mentioned wanting to do a law committee meeting next month, which I think would work. Our normal night for law committee would be the Wednesday before council, which would be the 23rd. And we could do that at 6.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, that will work for me too. So, and that's all I have.
The 23rd at 6 p.m.
I have a question. The public records policy, declaring, or public records policy, on your ordinance, I didn't see a fee amount, and somewhere I recalled a $75 an hour.
It is in the,
$75 an hour?
yeah, it is up to $75. It is a maximum of $75, and it really kind of depends on what's involved with the specific redactions. Just what needs to be redacted. There sometimes these get sent to an outside vendor to do the redactions, and that's kind of the situation where you might end up having a little bit higher fee, but if it's, just our staff time doing it, and it's $75 per hour of footage that is produced.
Yes.
So
Not
it's not
work time.
necessarily work time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that value in your,
It's in, there would have been an attachment
yeah.
to
okay,
this,
'cause I don't-
which
I
is
don't
our
see it
whole
in this.
policy,
Okay,
um,
all right.
and it has that included in it.
Okay.
Do you see it in there?
No,
It's in the
No,
policy.
there's an,
It's in the policy.
yeah.
okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Law Director? I just, again, I talk about school zones. We're back in school. Spring break is over now. I do know that IDEA is on spring break this week, but I'm going to, again, I talk about the speeding through the village. Our traffic enforcement out there in the mornings is top. So they're out there. Watch your speed. Don't call me when you get that ticket. Don't say I didn't warn you, because they are out there. So again, we want to watch the speed zones here in the village. As I talked about earlier in my short invocation, again, I just want us to be aware that the situation that happened last week, the unsettling situation that happened on the highway last week, that young man was a resident here in the village of Woodlawn. And so we want to just send their prayers for their family out for them. And that is all the information that I want to share on that. But again, we just want to keep that family in our thoughts and prayers as well. I don't have anything else on my report. Vice Mayor, I do need a motion to approve my mayor's monthly statement.
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the mayor's monthly statement in the amount of $40,702.03.
Second the motion.
Motion been moved and properly second. All ayes?
Aye.
Very well. Legislation?
Yes, Mayor. The first item is ordinance number 02-2025, an ordinance to make permanent appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Woodlawn, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025.
I need a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 02-2025.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules of ordinance number 02-2025.
I'll second.
Motion been moved and properly second. Roll call on the suspension, please.
Esther Boyd.
Aye.
Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Cindy Chandler.
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Michelle Starr.
Aye.
I need a motion for passage of ordinance number 02-2025.
I'll make a motion for passage for ordinance number 02-2025.
I'll second it.
Motion been moved and properly second. Roll call on the passage, please.
Esther Boyd.
Aye.
Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Cindy Chandler.
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Michelle Starr.
Aye. The next item is ordinance 03-2025, an ordinance to transfer $10,000 from the general fund to the tree board fund and $10,000 from the general fund to the We Thrive Grant Fund.
I need a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 03-2025.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 03-2025.
I'll second again.
Motion been moved, properly second. Roll call on the suspension, please.
Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Cindy Chandler.
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Michelle Starr.
Aye.
Esther Boyd.
Aye.
I need a motion for passage of ordinance number 03-2025.
I'll make a motion for passage for ordinance number 03-2025.
I'll second the motion.
Motion been moved and properly second. Roll call on the passage, please.
Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
Cindy Chandler.
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Michelle Starr.
Aye.
Esther Boyd.
Aye.
The next item is ordinance 04-2025, an ordinance revising the fee schedule for the Woodlawn Recreation Department and declaring an emergency.
I need a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 04-2025.
Make a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 04-2025.
I'll second the motion.
Motion been moved and properly second. Roll call on the suspension, please.
Cindy Chandler.
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Michelle Starr.
Aye.
Esther Boyd.
Aye.
Rosemary Brown.
Aye.
I need a motion for passage of ordinance number 04-2025.
I'll make a motion for passage of ordinance number 04-2025.
And I'll second it.
Motion been moved and properly second. Roll call on the passage, please.
Cindy Chandler.
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Michelle Starr.
Aye.
Esther Boyd. Rosemary Brown.
I need a motion declaring an emergency on ordinance number 04-2025.
Yeah. Emergency clause.
It's an emergency clause.
04?
Uh-huh, the one we're doing with right now. Oh, which one you thought we put? Again, I need a motion to declare an emergency on ordinance number 04-2025.
I'll make a motion to declare an emergency for ordinance number 04-2025.
I'll second the motion.
Motion been moved and properly second. Roll call on the emergency, please.
Cindy Chandler.
Aye.
Pamela Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Michelle Starr.
Aye.
Esther Boyd. Rosemary Brown.
The last item is ordinance 05-2025, an ordinance amending the Village of Woodlawn Public Records Policy and declaring an emergency.
I need a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 05-2025.
I'll make a motion to ordinance 05-2025 to suspend it.
This is
suspend the rules.
suspension, yes. This is a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance number 05-2025.
I'll second that motion.
You suspend?
I
Yes.
suspend it.
Motion been moved and properly second. Roll call on the suspension, please.
Pamela Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Michelle Starr.
Aye.
Esther Boyd. Rosemary Brown. Cindy Chandler.
Aye.
Very well. I need a motion for passage of ordinance number 05-2025.
I'll make a motion for passage for ordinance number 05-2025.
And I'll second it.
Motion been moved and properly second. Roll call on the passage, please.
Pamela Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Michelle Starr.
Aye.
Esther Boyd. Rosemary Brown. Cindy Chandler.
Aye.
I need a motion declaring an emergency on ordinance number 05-2025.
I'll make a motion to declare an emergency on ordinance number 05-2025.
I'll second it.
Motion been moved and properly second. Roll call on the emergency, please.
Pamela Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Robert Lawson.
Aye.
Michelle Starr.
Aye.
Esther Boyd. Rosemary Brown. Cindy Chandler.
Aye.
All right. Legislation. New business? Any new business? One thing I do want to mention in new business is with CIC, want to make sure that Rosemary and Cindy, are you still agreeing to serve on that? As well as Vice Mayor Pam, you're going to serve on that. I just need a consensus from council that has to be approved by council. And I do believe that Mike Donahue and Mary Hill is going to remain on that board as well.
That's correct.
So we just need a motion to affirm.
I need a motion to affirm, please.
I'll make a motion to affirm. Affirm. Do I need to mention
The
their names?
CIC board, no.
The CIC
CIC
board.
board.
I'll second the motion.
We can do all.
Okay. All right. Motion been moving properly second.
Who
A
seconded?
roll
I'm
call,
sorry.
please.
Who seconded that? I'm sorry.
Cindy did.
Cindy
Who
did.
Cindy?
We can do all.
Okay. All ayes? All right, very well. All right. Is there anything else that comes before this council? Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, I'd like to, our council members regarding Juneteenth, you know, we had asked about volunteers for, to work in our merchandise and our food booth. I'm going to be sending out tonight or early in the morning a sign-up sheet. So if you guys can get on and sign up for the
Is it a sign-up
items that you
genius?
will be.
Is it Sign Up
committed to.
Genius?
Hmm?
Right, it's called Sign Up Genius?
Yes, it
Is that what you're using?
I'm not using Sign Up Genie because I did look into using that and I got a thing from, well, I talked to Ashley about it, so I'm going another route.
Okay, no worries. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
but I wish you guys would hop on, fill in your time slots so that we can get that taken care of. I want to get it all in place so that we're ready to go.
would you think that some of that information could be fluid? Meaning you saying that you want us to get in there as quickly as possible. I can get in there tomorrow.
Yes.
I can put that I'm agreeing at a certain time, but something could change.
It could
That's
very
what I'm
well
saying about
change.
fluid.
Yeah, could
Okay.
very well change, so yes, it could be more, but the idea is to get in and put that commitment there, so in case something better comes along later on, you'll say, I'm already committed. Okay, but anyway, we want to go ahead and get that taken care of so that we can work on getting more volunteers. I think
Okay.
I have about 5 or 6 outside volunteers.
Okay.
And my goal is to have at least 1 to 2 council members in the booth with one of our outside volunteers.
Okay. Okay.
So if that's okay,
Sounds good. All
appreciate
right.
you.
All right. Any other questions? Anything else that comes before the, yes, ma'am?
So this is just a general question. For our next April council meeting, there's a resolution on the table for the village manager to enter into a temporary license agreement with Rolling Hope. Should I wait until that resolution is being voted on to ask questions about it? Or
No.
can I ask questions now, or how does that work?
My
Probably.
sense was that we would discuss it at committee of the whole.
Yeah.
Committee of the
I thought
whole?
We would discuss it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
You know
All
what,
right.
I forgot. There was information I sent you, I think, about a resolution regarding March as Women's Month.
I didn't get anything from you. You sent it to me?
I did, yeah.
Nothing came
You
out.
said, someone else had asked you already. So I just want to make sure that we go ahead and get that done.
No worries. You could resend it back to me because I don't see anything
I
in here
will.
that, if you would, please.
I will.
Okay, all right, no problem. Okay. Any other questions? All right, if there's nothing else that comes before this council, I need a motion for adjournment, please.
I'll make a motion for adjournment. I'll second
I'll
that
second.
motion.
Motion been moving properly, second, all ayes?
Aye.
Very well, great
Thank
meeting,
you all.
folks. Great meeting.